Here is a fact. There are two countries. In country number one, Seventh-day Adventists slaughtered and killed thousands of innocent people inside an Adventist hospital. That is a documented historical fact. In country number two, Seventh-day Adventists also slaughtered and killed thousands of innocent people, and like country number one, they also carried this out inside an Adventist hospital. The leaders of the church at the General Conference were fully aware of what happened in both countries. However, shockingly, they gave completely opposite reaction. For country number one, they defended and justified these crimes, but in country number two, they not only publicly condemned this atrocity, but called for secular governments to bring to justice those who were responsible. Country number one is the USA, and country number two is Rwanda in Africa. It is a fact documented in our own church publications that leaders in Adventist hospitals violently hacked to death and killed tens of thousands of little children, and they did this with the full support and approval of church leadership in the NAD and GC. In the African country of Rwanda, during the 1994 genocide, 3,000 people were brutally murdered on the compound of the Adventist hospital in Mugonero. The president of the church for that region and his son, the medical director, had encouraged people to seek refuge at the hospital. Once they were there, they called militias to come in and murdered thousands of men, women, and children. Not all of the killers were Adventist, but some were. Communications director of the General Conference responded, "The Seventh-day Adventist Church condemns atrocity in any form. We are supportive of the initiatives of the Rwandan government and the United Nations to bring to justice those who are responsible." Speaking today at the church's world headquarters in Silver Spring, the associate secretary confirmed the denomination's position. "We reject violence in all forms," that's a lie, "and we're appalled by the massacres that occurred in Rwanda in 1994. Adventist News, "We reject violence as a means for conflict resolution," that's also a lie. When Africans murder innocent people, church leadership publicly condemned the atrocity, called for justice, claimed to reject all violence, and said they were appalled. Now, this massacre happened in just a matter of a few months from April to July, and church leadership blasted their shock and outrage and sorrow as loud as possible. However, when Americans murdered tens of thousands of innocent children, church leadership expressed no outrage and no apology. Not only did church leadership not condemn Americans for killing children, but they actually made the practice an official church policy and stated that you cannot condemn Americans who want to murder children. It's right here in black and white. Attitudes of condemnation are inappropriate. It is a documented, published fact that church leaders in the NAD and GC, fact number one, murdered tens of thousands of children for the purpose of making money. Fact number two, they lied about it and kept it a secret from the church for over 15 years. Fact number three, lawyers in the GC and NAD appealed to the Supreme Court to prevent legislation to protect children from murder. Fact number four, the official journal Adventist Review on multiple occasions published misleading and outright fraudulent information to cover this up. Fact number five, when pastors and chaplains found out about this and wanted to look into this problem of murdering children, leaders in the NAD and GC sealed and hid the information. Fact number six, leaders in the church have never been honest about this. There has never been transparency, and leaders have never produced even one Bible text in support of murdering children. And anyone watching this video can prove this as a fact. When church members ask about the Sabbath, we are told to read the Bible. When church members ask about tithe, we are told to read the Bible. But when church members ask why the church supports murdering children, we are told to read these disgusting guidelines. We acknowledge with sadness that some of our church members turned against their fellow members and their neighbors. We are saddened that the accused did not act in harmony with the principles of the church, we offer an apology. Why? Why is it that when the Africans kill thousands of innocent people, church leadership put on a great show and boast of their outrage and sorrow, but when the Americans do the exact same thing, the GC defends them? Oh, we want to preserve the personal liberty of women to murder their children. The GC said, as a church, we preach a message of compassion and reconciliation, and we reject violence in all its forms. For this reason, we must not overlook charges of violence against humanity. That is a lie. That is an absolute despicable lie. It is a documented fact that the church leadership in the NAD and GC have been put on notice hundreds, if not thousands of times of the murder of children in our own institutions, but church leadership did absolutely nothing. In fact, it was worse because many who did complain were insulted, maligned, marginalized, and blacklisted. Nobody in the Adventist Church has ever been able to speak up about child murder with freedom of harassment or reprisal. This also shows how our church leadership really views our brothers and sisters in Africa. When Africans slaughter innocent people, the NAD and GC church leadership are extremely judgmental. They publicly condemn them openly in international media. But when the Americans do the exact same thing, and if you say anything about it, then they will attack you. They defend the murderers and attack you. This massacre in Rwanda took place over a period of just about 3 months, and the church is constantly reminded what a great atrocity this was. But the Americans have been both supporting and practicing the murder of children for over 49 years, and not one word of condemnation, not one word of apology, nothing. And if you think that's bad, it gets even worse. The most notorious abortionist is Dr. Edward Allred, who boasted in the newspaper of personally killing over 250,000 children. He boasted that he has killed more children than anyone else. He told the newspaper that the best way to kill African Americans and Hispanic children is by killing them before they are born. Dr. Allred targeted minorities by offering them discounts and free abortions, and in this article right here stated that he would kill most of these children on the 7th day of the week. On the Sabbath day, this man would violently rip the arms and legs off of at least 100 children, and that is at just one of his many clinics. All of this was public knowledge way back in 1979 and 1980. In this article right here, former theologian at Loma Linda and Andrews University states about Rwanda, to forget is to overlook a horror unprecedented in the history of this denomination. Adventists cooperating in the mass murder of other Adventists. To forget these crimes is tantamount to condoning them. And then in this very same journal, check this out. If you just flip to the back page, you can see honored right here is Dr. Edward Allred, who has been a member of the Advisory Council for over 20 years. In May 1997 here, Allred was given a gold star next to his name. In 2001, here he was given a diamond status. And by 2009, this bloody butcher was honored with lifetime recognition. That's right, honored with lifetime recognition. The Seventh-day Adventist La Sierra University named their business center after Allred and stated that his business of targeting children of racial minorities to be killed is, quote, the inspiration behind its economic philosophy. Do you see that? When Adventists in Africa kill minorities, they are openly and publicly condemned as criminals by church leadership. But when the Americans do the exact same things, they are honored and buildings are named after them. They even put a plaque on the wall. This Adventist university wishes to thank Allred for supporting the School of Business. His thoughtful generosity will forever be an example to our students, reminding them to make a difference with the resources that God has entrusted to their care. And as you see here, the Adventist Review is the flagship journal of the Adventist Church. Click on Partners. Loma Linda University and Medical Center in California is the flagship medical and educational institution of the worldwide Adventist Church, and the administration honors Allred as the #1 benefactor here. And on the wall at Loma Linda is a list of distinguished ambassadors, and there again is Dr. Edward Allred, ambassador, a representative or promoter of a specified classified activity. A man famous for his racism and for violently murdering hundreds of thousands of children is the inspiration, example, and ambassador. Right here, the official stated mission is to continue the healing ministry of Jesus Christ. Now take a moment to stop and think about that. The number one medical and educational institution for the entire worldwide Adventist Church names as their distinguished ambassador a man whose sole goal was to make as much money as possible from killing as many children as possible, specifically minorities. They have honored and chosen Allred as their ambassador and representative for the healing ministry of Jesus Christ. Why? Someone please explain why. Why is it that when Africans kill innocent people, they are condemned, but when the Americans do the exact same thing, the murderers are celebrated as examples and distinguished ambassadors for the leading Adventist institutions? The very same American Adventists who cry about racism, equality, and diversity, the very same American Adventists who point their finger and condemn Africans, openly honor and celebrate the premeditated, violent, bloody murder of hundreds of thousands of innocent children. If you are an African watching this video, how do you feel that you are condemned as savage criminals, but the Americans are honored? I know this: if I was an African, I would be absolutely furious. I'm not an African, and I'm already furious. This is a disgrace upon our church. To my African brothers and sisters, please do not be silent about this. This is absolutely despicable, rank hypocrisy. This is evil. Please do not allow one division of the church to publicly condemn everyone else while they openly support and practice bloody murder. In Rwanda, an estimated 10,000 Adventist church members lost their lives, but in North America, more than 10,000 children have been murdered, and that's at just one hospital. This is absolutely outrageous. It is a terrible sin. My brothers and sisters in Africa, you have a wonderful opportunity to bring honor to the name of Christ by speaking against this terrible injustice inside our own church. I urge you to please contact your church leaders and demand that this issue of murdering children in our church be addressed, and be addressed now.